So as many of you know, that this is the final presentation that we kicked off on a Friday afternoon, and today is the final presentation. This is a series of hackathons that we have been doing with MIT. There was the Beat the Pandemic one, there was Hacking Africa Take on COVID, and there was Datathon, and then this is this one here today, the Beat the Pandemic 2, and there will be one coming up for South America in June. If you switch to the next slide, please. All right, and did we get Gizam on?
Oh, that's a good question.
All right.
Yeah, I'm on.
So,
oh,
excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so we're all good to go. We have 4 great judges with us today that brings a lot of expertise. And we'll start with Rob Yang, who is a data scientist and spent the last 10 years working with various pharmaceutical R&D. Mingyu Li, Dr. Mingyu Li is the Chief Business Officer and Senior Vice President at Samsung SDS America. He leads the company's business focusing on enterprise mobility, digital displays, blockchain, AI, smart factory, and the Internet of Things. Gizam Ozbey, who is the Global Marketing Director at Abbott, and she's joining us from the Bay Area. She is on the focus on the marketing across multiple consumers and healthcare brands. And last but not least, we have Dr. John Bloom, who's a physician and entrepreneur with experience in technology development, biomedical research, and healthcare delivery. I welcome you all and thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and looking forward to hear some exciting presentation. If you move to the next slide, please. We have with us today, one more. We have with us today 21 teams that will be pitching their ideas to you today. And we all started on a Friday evening where they pitched 70 ideas from all around the world regarding the problem in TRAC-C that we're trying to solve. And out of the 70 ideas, the team socialized and this all happened virtually. And they decided to narrow down their ideas. They merged with certain teams. They redid their problem statements, and they came up with 23 total teams. Then it spent all days on Saturday hacking and growing those ideas that they came up with. We had some very interesting steps along the way. We're doing these checks with them, and it's been an amazing journey to see them grow over time. Every time we talk to them or they do a private, a practice pitch, you just see this ideas grows and get better. I'm just fascinating of how fast they've been able to grow and grow these beautiful ideas that they came up with. And after multiple cycles of feedback and iterating their ideas, we are here today for the final presentation. Go to next. A reminder, next one, of the judge criteria. And these are the ones that we've been talking about from day one, guys. It's that really the judges would be looking at the 4 distinguishing criteria. Is the impact that this idea is creating, the level of innovation, how would you implement that, and how your presentation skills are. So just keep that in mind as you go through your presentation. And next. There are a few logistics that I wanted to go through to make sure that we're all on the same page. So this presentation will be recorded for everybody's be aware. There are multiple teams members that can present. So some teams are choosing one person to present, some have more than one person, and then they will all help answer the Q&A as needed. Each team will have 3 minutes to present, and we're gonna have Jesse or Dave. Did we get either one of them on?
So they are still updating the end of the slide deck. So for now, you're going to have me and a timer.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna have at this time, Sydney, once we switch Sydney, just let the team know.
Yeah.
Sydney will give you the cue at the visual cue for the 1 minute before, and we're gonna cut you off at exactly 3 minutes. We have a lot of team to go through, so we're going to try to stay on time. Then the judges will have 2 minutes for their question and answer. We're also going to give our judges the 30-second visual cue so we can move on. Then maybe we'll take a few seconds for the judges to complete their forms. And just a reminder for the judges that you guys are scoring from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 the highest. And you're going to fill 1 form per team. Just want to make sure that you also have access to the form that been posted on the judges Slack channel.
Do you want to go ahead and share which team will be presenting first so they have a heads up?
Yeah, it should be actually the next slide, next or before that. Here we go. So I'm just going to let you know, thank you, that this is the next team will present will be the Tech the Halls team. That would be next. So just go back to the previous slide and I'll finish the logistic, gives that team time to just get them self-prepared to present next. Also, if you will be presenting for your team, please do raise your hands on the screen. So if you look down where the participant is in the bottom as an option, you can click on that and there's a panel gonna open on your right side. And in the bottom of that panel, on the left side of it, there will be a hand to raise. So you raise that and Sydney would know to unmute you. Otherwise, would really rather like to all of you to stay muted, just considering the number of people that's on this call.
We have some people with their hands raised now. Are your hands raised for a reason? You can put questions into the chat and we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah. And Sydney, your black box on the right is a block.
Yes, that's the participants that are all raising their hands. So I'm going to try to keep that as low as possible and out of the way when people are presenting. So if I don't get to a question right away, that's fine.
All right.
Before we go, I'm just going to stop sharing, update the slide deck so you all can't see who's further down.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, I'll just continue with the logistics. So you get 3 minutes, we'll give you the cue for 1 minute left, and then at 3 minutes sharp, we will actually stop. If you're not done with your slides, we'll have to still stop the presentation, and then we'll give that team, the judges team, the opportunity to ask you questions.
All right.
I would highly recommend for the different teams, have somebody on your team takes note from the judges' feedback so you guys can follow up later. I also would ask for all of the audience, if you guys have questions for that particular team, you can use the chat channel to do that. So maybe just put the team number or name there and wait until they are actually presenting so that way they can follow up, or feel free to exchange contacts, but use that side on the chat to communicate with your team or with the different teams that are presenting. All right, there's somebody in the waiting room, Sydney. Sydney, there is a recommendation you can share the PowerPoint so you can eliminate the black boxes.
I can share the PowerPoint. Let's see, how do I share the PowerPoint? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
There we go.
What's the best way to do this?
So you could go ahead and stop sharing, and then when you reshare, you select to share like the whole desktop, but only display the PowerPoint presentation.
Oh.
So that like the other black boxes are not on top of overlapping. So
share specifically that particular document, not all of your screen.
That's funny because I think that's what I did. Oh wait, share computer center, optimize computer center.
All right, we're already like way behind time. So
okay.
are we getting close to get ready?
We're good.
Okay.
I'm going to, let's see, go forward. And if whoever is, the hands raised for Team Tech the Halls, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. And we're ready to go. I will start the timer when you start talking. So you can let me know when you're ready to start.
Just before, we're gonna say next slide, please, just to indicate like switching slides.
Thank
Perfect.
you for letting us know. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, all four of us are presenting different parts of this slide.
Okay. All right. You guys get 3 minutes. And remember, it's a hard stop at 3 minutes. And we're ready when you are.
Okay. All right, we're Team Hold. Next slide, please. Imagine this. Sam is a 7-year-old kid who has to go to school when it opens in the fall. Sam isn't worried about catching the virus, but he is worried about passing it to his grandparents. Although contact tracing apps are in the works, Sam's second-grade class isn't allowed to bring in phones. Sam's elementary school has a responsibility to him and his classmates to keep them and their families at the lowest risk possible. His schools need to find a low-cost, accessible, and robust way of enforcing social distancing to ensure a safe and effective face-to-face learning environment. Next slide, please.
To that end, we want schools to utilize 2 types of reprogrammable ultra-wideband devices to measure distances and transmit data, a personal tag and a stationary monitor. The personal tags would have all the technology needed to perform contact tracing and could be worn as a lanyard or tossed in a backpack. Monitors will contain the tech needed to track data in hallways and public spaces from these tags. These monitors will use Wi-Fi to upload data to a central computer in the school. Next slide, please. Here is an example of the default software we expect these devices will ship with. Let's say 2 students, Kyle and Katie, whose tags have random codes 1 and 2, come in contact with monitors A and B at opposing entrances to a hallway AB at noon. Next slide, please. 30 seconds later, their tags come within 6 feet of each other. The tags exchange codes and timestamps to mark the beginning of the distancing breach. Next slide, please. Kyle and Katie chat for 2 minutes, and their tags store the time the meeting ended and transmit that data to the next monitors they encounter. These monitors will assemble and transmit the codes, time, and duration of the meeting. Later, if Kyle tests positive for COVID-19, he can use his code 1 to anonymously inform everyone who came in contact with tag 1 that they came in contact with a COVID patient. Next slide, please.
Each student's tag will come with a unique code that can be used to log into an interface to report infections and check for contact with COVID-positive students. Student identifiers are not stored anywhere in our data flow, so student data is kept private. Schools can also use this data to devise plans to minimize contact in hallways. Next slide, please. Implementing this in schools would begin with prototyping and testing. Next, in the weeks just before schools reopen, the stationary monitors would be installed within schools and the personal tags mailed out to the students. Funding would come from the students individually. However, schools could help with costs for students who can't afford it. This device is not limited to just schools. It can be incorporated in places such as offices and college campuses, bringing the cost down for everyone. Next slide, please.
The impact of our product is significant. It allows for millions of children to return to school nationwide and even worldwide while minimizing the risk of infection for families. It is a cheap and effective solution that can be easily implemented in schools with students of all socioeconomic backgrounds who may or may not be able to afford smartphones. This will significantly improve the response time to contain outbreaks, since notification will allow students to know whether they have been exposed to the disease and can take appropriate actions. It allows students to reap the benefits of in-person learning in these tough times. In summary, we want to use ultra-wideband technology to allow schools to perform contact tracing in an effective, equitable, and anonymous way.
Thank you
Hopefully,
guys so much. Thank you. We'll take it now to the judges.
Can you expand a little bit about, it says $10 per person. What would be the most expensive parts of the product, and how did you come to that number?
Well, what we did was we looked at the cost at scale for each of the components that we have listed on our slide number 3. The most expensive component for us was definitely the ultra wideband transceiver and antenna, because they're not really manufactured at a massive scale right now, because there's not a lot of industry use for these as compared to other technologies like RFID. They are kind of expensive, and they'd be about $6 to $7 at the minimum, we think, and that would be our limiting factor for cost.
Oh. So what is the key technology? Just remind me one more time.
You go ahead. Oh, so we're using ultra wideband transceivers to both measure distances and transmit data from node to node.
Okay, thanks.
What's your thoughts on privacy and how parents would potentially see this as a liability?
We've decided for the device that the login ID that was mentioned is connected to the device, not the person. So the interface would be logged in using the device, and you can randomly assign the devices to the students. So the actual identifying data for the students are never attached to any components of the data.
And would you be recommending the school to enforce all of the students to have one of these, or would there be opt-out options?
There could be opt-out options, but we would recommend schools to implement this as widely as possible, because the more data there is, the whole idea of the device is to kind of contain exposure. So the more data there is, the more effective this device will be.
That would be, thank you, that would be all. I'll just give this judges a couple of seconds to complete their form while we switch the slide.
And what number was this team, Dr. Hollis?
71.
I'm sorry, so was that confirmed?
Yes, 71.
71.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next team is team 20. And the team after that will pitch would be team 75. So just so you guys can get ready. If team 20 can raise their hand.
All right, you can go ahead and unmute yourselves and let me know when you're ready to start. Team 20, can I get an okay?
Yep, we're here.
Okay. All right. And starting your time. There you go.
Sorry, just 1 second. We're having a technical difficulty. Someone got kicked off the call, so they're rejoining.
All right. Who would be presenting?
The presenter got kicked off the call, so they're
okay. We kind of need them. And also for the switching slides, you guys are going to have a visual cue, or are you going to just let her know?
I can't see visual cues because my whole screen is a thing. So if you could just say next.
Okay. You'll say next.
The team number again is which one?
20.
Team number 20 or 75?
When we're ready.
Are you guys ready?
Yes, we should just say next slide.
Yep. Yes, just give it that. And I'm sorry, Ming, you had a question?
Yeah, I thought the team number was 75, not 20, right?
No, 20 is presenting now, 75 is next. So we just announced
Oh,
it so
okay.
the team knows. Yes. So we're going to always announce to take the first one. Yeah, and I will state in the end also that number so you guys make sure. All right, ready guys? Let's do it.
And go.
So good afternoon, everyone. We are Team Virtual Hug, and we are presenting our product, Kidzcope. Here is Marcus, an 8-year-old boy with autism spectrum disorder. Ever since before the pandemic, he has been encountering various social challenges, but with the changes going on right now, he is even more confused. There are several children like him. 1 in 68 children in the US have autism and countless worldwide. Next slide, please. So here's the problem. Limited resources exist to help autistic children understand the current social changes. And research has gone into showing that kids need to have a conversation about this. Next slide. There's a hole in the market. No single consolidated resource exists to address these various facets for autistic children. They often suffer from anxiety in face-to-face interactions, so they prefer a digital platform, but there is no one solution. Next slide, please. This is where we come in. We can make a widespread impact for children like Marcus, ages 4 to 18. We hope to combine simple educational resources with interactive games and a digital team to understand a child's progress and create evidence-based content. Next slide. So meet Kona and Remy, 2 kid-friendly persona who will accompany children through stories to help them understand crisis-related concepts and build resilience. Next slide. Here is a carefully curated image from one of our stories showing why it is important to wear masks outside. Next slide. Here are 2 other images of 2 other stories relating to the pandemic. Next slide.
Quantifiable, but with a new data model that focuses on risk.
Someone is talking.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. We hope to build a digital subscription service for autistic children, starting here in the US, but planning to expand globally.
So with iOS, there's limitations.
Our product is priced at $8.99 per month.
All right, can you mute all side, Sydney, please?
Yep.
Just to mute all and just you unmute as you need to.
All right.
Apologize to you guys.
It's okay.
Let's try that.
Okay. Is it okay if I keep going from here?
Yes, if you're comfortable with that, yeah.
Okay. So we plan to build a digital subscription service for autistic children, starting here in the US, but expanding globally. Our product is priced at $8.99 per month for a multi-tiered subscription service, which will also have in-app paid purchases. Initially, we plan to provide COVID-19 related content for free to develop a fan base and gain user feedback for further development. Next slide, please. We will be creating content in partnership with therapists and child psychologists, beta testing the app, and launching our subscription service. In the long term, we hope to expand to multimedia and create a brand following around Kona and Remy. Next slide, please. Our team has a diverse skill set, expanding from product strategy to business to healthcare and design. Next slide. So finally, why choose us? We're addressing a pressing and niche need with autistic children. We're offering a cost-effective and easily adaptable solution, specifically curated animal persona to go across global and cultural barriers. We're bringing a diverse experience to the table, and we're thinking long-term. Right now, we're focusing on autistic children, but let's be real. Which child wouldn't want a Kona and Remy in their lives? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you did a great job considering all the distraction. So thank you.
Yes. All right. The judges can unmute themselves.
Yeah, after seeing, by the way, like hundreds of pitches to be able to do this guerrilla style, that's really, really impressive. Serious hats off on that one.
Yeah. And it is one of my favorite solutions because it's such a sensitive topic. So yeah, I think it still came across though. Do you guys have any questions about it?
What type of solutions are like this or are available today that serve autistic kid needs?
So a lot of the solutions right now are in person. So they often require speech therapy, behavioral therapy, physical therapy. A lot of this is done in person through playing games with them. So what we want to do is bring this gaming therapy to a digital platform, which will help reduce anxiety for them that they have from person-to-person interactions. So when we were looking at our pricing strategy and our business model, other competing services that we saw had a gaming platform, but they were not catered to autistic children and their specific needs, which is why we hope to address this pressing and niche issue here.
Has digital media been as well, or how well validated is digital media for this purpose?
So it has been shown in several research studies that they prefer having digital content. A lot of the content out there has been created and available for them, but it is not created and available for them through non-medical professionals. One of the strong assets of our team is that I'm in the healthcare field. I'm a physician, and we have two other healthcare professionals on our team. So we will be bringing in that skill set to develop evidence-based practice model for these children.
And are you thinking about gathering the evidence with a interactive form? So where I'm going with this is that, are you also collecting feedbacks either from the parents and or from the autistic kids, so that you can gather in your back end more data, so that when you do come out with a trial, you know the power and you know the exact endpoints that you're.
So yes, we plan to gather multi-tiered feedback One feedback would be from understanding how these children are interacting with our app. And our app will be certified and compliant with COPA to ensure that there are no privacy concerns. We will also be getting feedback from parents in how they see their children interacting, as well as their therapists and other healthcare professionals who are part of their care team. But often
We're
what
gonna
has
cut you off there for time.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
By the way, that was great job. Great composure.
Yeah, really good job.
So sorry about
Seriously.
that.
All right.
And question, just make sure I'm using the forms right. The feedback confidential versus feedback public. Does confidential mean it just goes to the team, or is it just me amongst the judges?
That's a very good question. I'm not really sure, but let me follow up on that.
Okay.
I would treat it as that. I would assume that it is the confidential, it's just internal to help you guys come up with the final decision, and public is the one who will go to the team and the other. And if it's otherwise, we can always switch it. It's easier to go the opposite way. Yeah. All right. Great job, guys. Just a reminder, that was team number 20. The next team is team 75. And
what team is after 75?
That should be on the slide, Sydney.
Yes, we're missing a transition slide, so let me stop share and refresh, and then we'll be good to go. It's all finished now.
All right. We are really way behind, so we're going to try to just get this moving now. We got the technical difficulties out of the place, locking the right things, and hopefully we'll get our timers on as well.
Goodness. Amy, do you have the spreadsheet? Can you give the next team a heads up?
I think, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not sure which is the next team. I don't see that.
I will let you know in 1 second. All right, after Team COVID Collab, we have Team V Study.
Okay, what team number is that?
And that is Team 74.
74, all right.
So Team COVID Collab will be now, and then Team V Study.
All right, and Sydney, I'm gonna take over the timing.
Okay.
Yep, and who do we have on from that team? Who would be presenting from Team 75?
You can go ahead and unmute yourself now for Team 75.
Okay, they listed their name in the chat. That would be Amin.
Go ahead.
Cash,
I changed the setting. You should be able to unmute yourself for.
Great, thank you. So it's Amreen from Team 075 COVID Collab. We also have the rest of our team members, Bruce and Akash and Shanyu. And Shanyu will be holding a sign for the next slide transition, if that is okay.
Can you just say next? I cannot see next slides without sharing it on my screen.
Okay. Okay, I can try.
All right, let me know when you guys are ready. We're ready when you are.
Would it be possible to start when we go to the next slide, please?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
That's one. And just so you know, I'll be holding this up when you're at 1 minute to go.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. It was next. Okay.
Imagine a dark and empty classroom. Now imagine 100,000 of them around the world. Due to COVID-19, students are actively engaged in online learning for only 2 hours a week. 8 in 10 classrooms and more than half the students not paying attention. In fact, most teachers have received as little as 2 hours of training. Next, please. With classes becoming completely online, student engagement is decreasing. Teachers are unsure whether their children and students are having fun or even understanding what they're teaching. In fact, learning has become generic. Next, please. We believe that the first step to prioritizing student engagement is to measure it. Meet our solution, E2E, an easy-to-use dashboard that provides insights to teachers on learning style, student engagement, and leadership potential by integrating with existing educational platforms that target K-12 classrooms in the US. Next, please. Let me walk you through it now. Meet Ms. Jane. She can access her account to view her courses and metrics gathered through surveys, track records, and site interactions. Next, please. You can also see how well students are performing and how they're interacting with each other through the Student Engagement Network. Next, please. Here, she can also monitor who's not engaging with peers, and she can help those students. Next. For example, Hello Kitty has only one peer connection and is not doing well in her courses. Next. Ms. Jane can also receive auto recommendations and pairing students based on learning styles. She can also identify leaders in student communities who can help with breakout facilitations. Next. From a tech feasibility standpoint, deep learning and graph have been used in the prediction of student performance, an example of which is in the work of Daphne Collar from Stanford. Next, our team is experts and entrepreneurs in AI, machine learning, and systems integration. So our business model is next please. Our business model involves partnering with organizations, including InterSystems from this hackathon who we've already spoken to, education delivery platforms such as Google Classroom, MIT, and the Harvard Innovation Lab. Next, we will generate revenue, we'll generate revenue through a tiered licensing model and change management consulting services, which will offset our in-house employee, tech, and marketing costs. Based on preliminary analyses, our solution is not only more effective than our competitors, but also offers more functionality. Next, we need a solution now. Our fully functional MVP will be launched in just 4 sprints, after which we'll incorporate feedback into MVP 2. Next, E2E has the potential to impact about 2 billion students around the world. If there's anything you'll take away, we'd like you to take away the 3 E's: engagement, efficiency, and equity. Because as you can see here, there are some metrics that can show large-scale impact. Marie Curie once said, "You cannot hope to build a better future or better world without improving individuals." Dear judges, we hope you'll join us in this mission to improve the world of education. Thank you. Next and next.
Thank you. Great on timing. Judges, we got 2 minutes for deliberation.
This is a great idea. And so my question is, would you be serving the facial expressions from the students, or is this coming from, like, where's the data source?
Absolutely. Perhaps maybe I'll just start it off, and Akash, if you'd like to take over. But a couple of the data sources, especially in MVP 1, because we'd like to pilot first, would be some things that are already existing on the platform, like test assignments, academic records, any engagements on chats that the students are having with each other. And then moving forward, we do want to do sentiment analysis and maybe incorporating social media as well as, you said, voice and facial recognition. But Akash, would you like to add anything?
To add on what Amreen already said would be to collaborate with educators, because educators know best what would help students learn and engage more. So we're definitely looking to talk to more educators and find better ways to get these data.
Thank you.
You guys talk about your implementation plan?
Yeah, if you don't mind going back a couple more slides to the roadmap, I can maybe talk through that. Yeah, absolutely.
Post-product phase, maybe it's the real world implementation. Talk to me about, post MVP, how do you plan to roll this out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's 3 critical elements. One is the partnerships. We want to pilot off with one organization, perhaps, because Google Classrooms, I believe, has 60% of the market share in education in the US. We'd like to start off with them. The second part is going to be understanding the functionality a little bit better and getting those requirements and really catering it to the needs of the different districts and regions, maybe even incorporating different languages. Marketing will be very critical. So an organization like yours, if there are opportunities to collaborate, I think that would be great as well. And then lastly, I know I said 3, but the other piece that we definitely want to keep in mind is we want to incorporate, like we want to understand how things are going, and any bug fixes that may happen, we want to leverage that agile model so we can do them in that upcoming sprint rather than wait a long period of time.
Okay, and we're out of time. We're out of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was team 75. I will give you guys a couple of seconds to complete your form, and the next would be team 74. And Sydney, we have Dave now is on. If you can pin him, and he will be fine. Yes, he will be tracking our timer. So for all the team presenting, you're all familiar with Dave. That's been helping us for the last 2 days. He will hold the signs up for you guys on the timing. Here we go. Here's Dave. Excellent. So next would be team 74, and after 74 would be team 42. So please be ready, guys, to go next. And we are ready when you are. If you raise your hand, do we have who's presenting?
Yeah, we are ready.
Okay.
All right, and as we discussed earlier, you just have to say next for the next slide, and Sydney will move the slides over. All right.
Yeah, we are from team 74.
Yep, we're ready for you guys.
You start.
Yep, we are ready. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Should I start?
Yes.
Yes, we are. Yes, please.
Hi, I am Mohit from team We Study. This is Sam, and due to lockdown, he's taking his classes online. But online classes limits him from collaborating with fellow students and instructors over a project. Also limits one-to-one interaction. Due to such situation, Sam often loses in interest in learning and can't keep the learning pace. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. As a solution, we propose an innovative edutech platform, We Study. The We Study enables students to learn by doing projects on topic of their choice. We Study enables Sam to learn new skills by working on a project and collaborating with instructors worldwide. Project-based learning is one of the best, as we have seen in this hackathon. Also, on We Study, Sam can access large repository of text and audio resources and can take quizzes which will help him to grab project opportunities. This is the registration page where he can enroll as a student while his instructor can join as a teacher to upload projects and for further collaboration. Next slide, please. If he has a skill, then he can directly hop onto projects page to get a project opportunity with any of the mentors, and mentors can look out at his profile page where medals have been displayed, which he has gained by doing quizzes throughout his journey on We Study. And also, each profile page has his skills mentioned thoroughly and his resume. Next slide, please. If he fails to grab an opportunity of project, he can head back to resources and browse through text and PDFs and learn any skills that he wants. And then he can again take quizzes and then apply for a project opportunity. And thus he will get the opportunity. Next slide, please. So why should we choose We Study? Flexibility. It provides flexibility to choose from vast variety of resources and enables students to learn at their own pace. Projects. Student can work on projects and can improve their skill set. Also collaborate with instructors. Impact. Innovative platform for students, one of a kind, for one-to-one collaboration of students and instructors. As Bloom taxonomy clearly explains why project-based learning is the best learning, because it helps us to create, evaluate, analyze, apply the skills we have learned, and also it helps to retain better than what we have read through our textbooks. Next slide, please. This is our business model. First, we would like to provide the subscription free for two months until the pandemic ends, and then we would charge a monthly or annual subscription. Also, our website, it will be website or Android-based applications.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you very much. Judges? And please, if anybody on the team that is not talking, please go ahead and mute your line. We're just getting some background noise. Thank you.
Can you briefly talk a little bit about who specifically you would be wanting to go after to onboard?
Yeah, high school students and undergraduate students can enroll themselves for project opportunities, and that will help them to learn better.
And you view this sort of on top of their ongoing curricula as just sort of an extra piece to
Yeah,
get
exactly. Just
collaboration?
complement their online studies and what they are like studying.
What is the biggest limitation you foresee in the implementation of this idea?
The biggest limitation is onboarding of instructors, and also like resources that should be uploaded, because students and majorly students are very reluctant to upload resources. So we would have to like pursue them to upload some text or video materials, and also to engage them, and also educate them about project-based opportunities.
Okay. What about the marketing plan?
Yeah, we want to market this as an edutech platform, and first we would try to host hackathons on under our name, so that it can like we can make a word out, and word to word marketing would be beneficial for us. And also the free subscription would attract majority of the students, which will help to acquire more potential customers.
Very much. That was all the time we have, and that was team 74. Thank you, guys. Next, we will have team 42. We'll just give the judges a minute to write their notes. And Sydney, is there the slide about who's the next team after team 42?
Dave and Jesse, do we have information? How many of you checked the spreadsheet?
Right. We still have that noise background. Can you guys please make sure you're all muted?
Should have everyone on mute.
Right. So team 42, is that their first slide?
This should be the first slide.
Right. Do we have team 42 unmuted?
They are able to unmute now.
All right.
And
Cool.
Dave and Jesse, can we get what team is up next? Okay, after 42 is team 19.
Okay. So team 19, just be prepared to present next. Team 42, who will be presenting?
Hi, I will be presenting.
All right. Could you just please mention to Sydney next so she can move your slide when you're ready? And we're ready for you when you are, so we can start the timer.
Okay,
and
great.
As you know, Dave, if you can see Dave, if Dave can wave his hand, he will give you the gesture when you have 1 minute to go.
I have a question. The slide you showed before, I don't think those are our slides.
Yeah, actually, this is team's 3 slides.
Sorry, whose slides are those?
Team C3.
Team C3. Okay. These are team C3 slides?
Yes.
Okay. Team 42. That's who's up right now?
Yes. Team 42
these are your slides. Okay.
All right.
I read that. So this is team 42, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can go ahead.
We are Team SEER in C19, which stands for Social and Emotional Engagement Resources in COVID-19. Education is not only about what you learn in the classroom, but how you use the knowledge you have acquired to solve real-world problems. The COVID-19 pandemic is an opportunity for students to make an impact through social student hackathons, online discussions, and volunteering opportunities. But many students don't know how to help during COVID-19 because they lack the resources. Next. So our problem statement is, how can we provide resources in an organized way for students who want to learn new skills and make an impact on the COVID-19 response? Next. Our solution is to create an organized online resource platform that provides information about upcoming volunteer opportunities and challenges, encouraging student involvement in the COVID-19 pandemic. Students can search the website and based on age, gender, interests, location, school, or other factors, they can be directed to events that interest and suit them. So how does it work? The website will consist of 3 main pages: discussion topics, volunteering resources, and learn a skill. Next. So for discussion topics, we will have a page with various discussion topics that students can join in, such as AI, data science, and machine learning, and other big topics related to COVID-19. Next. We will ensure that underprivileged students also have access by partnering with nonprofit organizations around the world that provide technology for their local communities. Next. Our second page will be a volunteering resources page. And this page will provide a list of upcoming volunteering events, such as hackathons being offered by external organizations. Each volunteer event will be accompanied with a description and a link to its external website. Next. Our next page is going to be called Learn a Skill. And this page will hold simple video and picture tutorials of basic skills, like how to make a face mask at home. There will be an online forum with daily challenges for every new skill, and the people who complete the challenge and upload a picture, such as creating a homemade mask, will be awarded virtual certificates. Next. So why is our solution unique? Most of our team members are high schoolers, so we're addressing the problem from a high schooler's perspective. There are online challenges and forums. We are using peer-to-peer engagement to involve students in the COVID-19 pandemic response during times of social and emotional stress. And we are giving resources to the talented students who really want to make an impact during COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go to the judges.
How do you guys plan on obtaining and curating the content that would be on some of the learning parts?
Yes, so I think
we have a team member that's on a mute that needs to talk.
Okay, they should be able to do that now.
Okay.
For these discussions, I'm not sure if this is your question, but we weren't planning on like having any type of course. We were more planning on maybe starting a discussion about these various topics, and maybe people who are interested in these topics will start up with the discussion. Like those are for discussion topics regarding like different types of COVID-19 sources, but they're not really meant as like courses. They're more meant as to maybe this is related to COVID-19 and I really want to talk about it and maybe share some ideas with other people.
So I see 2 things. One is learning and the other one is volunteering. So have you thought about splitting those 2? There are many maybe learning platforms, but not many volunteering websites.
Yeah, and that's what makes our website unique. So like what we want to do is, because so many students are out there and they're just sitting at home and they don't know what to do during COVID-19. And as high schoolers, many of our team are high schoolers and we know that. So basically we're gonna connect with many external organizations, nonprofit organizations. I know some around my area and many students don't know about them. And by connecting with them and putting these resources in an organized page, we can really have students access these resources easily so they know what to do. Does that answer your question, or?
You do, thank you.
And are you thinking about sort of not starting from scratch, but also borrowing from the social media platform right now, just to kind of pressure test your idea?
We haven't quite considered that, but yeah, that's totally a possibility.
All right, and we're out of time.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. Yeah, thank you so much for you guys. Next team was team 19. And it seems like
there we go. Oh no, wait,
okay.
This is 97. So sorry about that. The slides aren't in order, so I'm just going to skip to team 19. And
which team would, yeah?
Sorry, let's see. 19, just to yell if I get to your slides. Okay, team C19, are these your slides?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So we will go with team 19 and we're gonna follow this order. So up next is going to be team 72, Catalyst.
Right, and for the judges, the team we just heard from was team 42.
And now we are doing team 19, right?
Team 19,
right. All right, guys. we are ready when you are.
You can start.
We're just waiting for a team member to get unmuted.
Oh, they should be able to unmute themselves, so go ahead.
Oh, may I start?
Yes, anytime.
Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Sylvia. I'm a 16-year-old high school junior, and I have a problem. School can often be very boring. Who else here has ever felt bored in school? Next slide, sorry. Who else here has ever felt bored in school? Has your teacher ever gone on and on, even when nobody was listening? That happens to me in school a lot of times, and I'm not alone. Next slide. 60% of American high school students say they don't see value in what they are being taught in school. 48% of them don't feel engaged, and consequently, 2.1 million high school students drop out each year. Next slide. Learning is not a one-size-fits-all, and you can see the different learning styles in the top left corner. Due to COVID-19, there has been a shift from in-person to online learning, and this has left many students to struggle. We want to target high school students, and we want to level the playing field for all types of learners by empowering high school students to better communicate their learning and retention style to teachers. Next slide. And that's where we come in. I'm Sylvia, and that's Fumi, and that's Bosco. We are Team C123. We have the skills and perspectives of someone in their teens, 20s, and 30s, offering perspectives from 3 different backgrounds of learning experiences.
And we're here to disrupt the one-size-fits-all lecture style approach to learning in order to, next slide, make learning engaging again. Next slide. Meet Activius. Activius is a website that helps students identify their learning style through a gamified self-assessment. Just can you click once and click one more time and wait there. Thank you. We're different from the competition because we use interactive components instead of just questions for the assessment. Once the assessment is complete, the student and the teacher receive a personalized report, and the teacher can take the aggregated class data to make a topic like the French Revolution more engaging through role plays or podcasts. Next slide. While the self-assessment is free, we don't just stop there. Our value prop is that we provide both detailed information about how to engage with students, plus premium paid offerings like templates, worksheets, modules. And we believe our product can make the classroom more inclusive for students during COVID-19 and beyond. Next slide. So we have a freemium model with the free assessment and then paid subscribers. And the subscription part is the key to sustainability because it finances the development of the premium content by behavioral experts. For implementation, we would start with the pilot school, iterate before scaling. Next slide. Activius was born out of COVID, but it addresses an underlying problem that extends way beyond the pandemic. If Activius could decrease dropout rates by 10%, that would mean 200,000 more graduates per year. With Activius, let's make learning engaging again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
guys.
you.
Ready for the judges?
Yes.
Hi, this is great. My question is, what's sort of your targeted age group here? Would you only be going out all of the high school students, or just the ones that are just entering, or would you also predict the ones that are more likely to drop out?
So our original plan was to just start with like high school students, grades 9 to 12 for phase 1. Obviously, after more research and iterating, there's potential to like increase and expand further. But for the purpose of a pilot, it would be just high school.
Can you walk us through a use case for a kinesthetic learner? For instance, how would they benefit from a platform that is still dependent on worksheets and templates?
So we have the idea of doing something like interpretive dance. Like if we were supposed to, I don't know, like learn about the French Revolution, you might maybe act out a scene.
How well understood is it that poor engagement drives dropout rates? Is that a major part of it, or is it well known?
Excuse me, could you repeat the
We
question?
wouldn't, okay, you can.
I couldn't hear the question. Could you repeat it one more time, sorry?
Just trying to get a sense of the relationship between engagement in classrooms and dropout rates. Is that a huge part of it? Is it well understood, that relationship?
Do you mind if I answer that?
Sure, go ahead.
Pascal? Yeah, there isn't, like you said, there are a lot of different factors that could influence a student's choice to drop out of high school, but we do acknowledge that struggling to learn or struggling to engage with learning in the classroom is a factor. And if we were to address this and make learning more personalized to each individual, it would be more enjoyable and approachable to a wider range of students. So we're not saying that our approach will guarantee or make something happen, but it will definitely encourage students to enjoy learning for a prolonged period of time and enjoy staying in school.
And yes, and in short, it is a well-documented connection. And this is only exacerbated by the move from in-class teaching to online learning.
Right. And that was it for the timing. Thank you very much for you guys. That was team 19. And the next we'll have team 72. Can you guys just make sure whoever presenting unmute themselves? And for the people asking for the teams, we are, I think we got that situation fixed. So hopefully moving forward, we will get you, we'll get more organized on that. And I'm going to ask Jessie, is that accurate that the next team is team 7?
So the next one will be team 27.
Okay, so team 27 is going to go next after team 72.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, not confusing at all. Good. All right, team 72, are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right.
That's not what our Google Slides look like.
These are not your slides.
The content's the same, but it's...
Oh, you lost the formatting?
Yeah, it's just the text that's there.
Refresh the page.
Yeah.
This is team 72, right?
This is team 72. Oh, yes. Okay. 1 second. I did lose your formatting. Sorry about this, team. I'll have this fixed in 1 second. You worked hard on the slides, so we don't want to. All right, here we go. Team 72 is ready. These are your slides, right?
Yeah.
That's looking a lot better.
All yours.
Okay.
Right,
As of 2000, sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry.
As of 2019, over 76 million students in the US alone have been forced to continue their education remotely, barred from the outside world due to the ongoing pandemic. Next slide, please. To put it straight, COVID-19 has had a major impact on the educational sector. With classes moved online, students worldwide are unable to have an enriching, constructive classroom experience. Next slide, please. In response to this, we present Catalyst. Next slide, please. An app that provides students with the necessary tools to catalyze their education, putting particular focus on enabling them to physically interact with the concepts at hand. To achieve this, we make use of virtual reality. We hope to target the USA with our app, since this is a country with the largest number of students, and we will therefore be able to make a sizable difference. Next slide, please. Here is our quadrivial response to the issue we face. The app contains a repository of VR activities created by a community of teachers and VR specialists. Once the students complete the tasks assigned, they may upload the results to their teachers through our platform. Teachers then proceed to evaluate the finished tasks and appropriately grade students. They can also give feedback to students on how to ameliorate their performance to help them reach their full potential. Next slide, please. You can play the video. Here's a demo of the app. Students start at the home page and then proceed to the list of VR tasks to choose one. By clicking on a task, they can complete and submit it for review. Once the teacher evaluates the VR file submitted, they can award a grade and send feedback back to the student. Next slide, please. Our timeline is as follows. In a month's time, we hope to begin collaboration with the US government in order to prioritize the shipment of VR kits to students over time and to secure funding for the VR kits. After 2 months, we hope to partner up with manufacturers of VR kits. After giving some more time for the VR community to begin producing tasks, we hope to launch our product at the 3-month mark. Thank you. Next slide, please.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Very good on timing, the judges.
So for VR, there's two things. One is hardware and there's a content. So how can you create content to support this?
So for creating content, we have a system in place which empowers a community. So the community is able to create, and we also plan to create a platform in which teachers will be able to easily create VR content. So we have a community that is creating the VR content.
Yeah, so essentially there's a repository of VR related content already available that the community will create. And if the teacher wishes, he or she may create their own content, which will be specific to their class.
For like a two-sided model like this, where you need to get the content in, any thoughts on how you can encourage the content creation to come in to have that repository?
So we hope that schools will encourage the use of this application together with government endorsement to ensure that our app becomes well known nationwide, so that people are encouraged to help children out so that they can pursue their education. So we hope that out of goodwill, people will volunteer and create tasks for students to complete to pursue their education.
All right. And thank you so much, guys. That was Team 72. And while the judges are setting up, let's try to get Team 27 on. We're just going to go back to retrieve your slides. We did not forget about you guys. We just have some messed up with the slides. We're trying to recover. And after that, it's going to be Team 23. So be prepared. And whenever you guys ready, who will be presenting?
Me and also Alessia, who is on call.
Okay, excellent. We are ready when you are.
All right, can you go to the next slide, please? Imagine you are back in high school, full of curiosity in your subjects and growing every day in your passions and learning from your mistakes in a collaborative environment with friends. But then, a sudden twist. Next slide, please. You are locked out of the science labs and computer rooms until further notice. Your means of growing and defining who you are as a person put on hold. The problem is that approximately 1.2 billion students worldwide now don't have the means of developing their passions to grow into careers, which they will foster for approximately a third of their lives. Next slide, please. In our studies, we have come to understand that with the outbreak, the number of students adapting an online presence has increased by 200%, but 60% of these students benefit most from hands-on learning. These students, especially those pursuing a career in STEM, need exposure to continued collaboration and hands-on learning to prepare them for future careers. Next slide, please. As our diverse group consists of experience in STEM education, policy, and web app development, and it includes 3 high school students who all have firsthand experience of the effects of COVID-19 on their education. Next slide, please. Our solution is called Sci for All, a digital platform for hands-on learning composed of different collaborative science labs unlike any other. Next slide, please, and I'm going to hand it over to Akil.
We have multiple services in our system, including a chat box and a variety of labs. Other services like EDX and Coursera do not have these features. These labs are for high school and college students with access to the internet. There'll be 4 to 5 students per session per lab for students who are interested in the STEM field. We also have implemented a method to connect virtual labs to a GIS system that students can visit after the pandemic. All of our labs are completely virtual. Our main goal is to create open collaboration and connections through hands-on learning. Next slide, please. This is our Sci for All website where the virtual labs will be hosted on. We will address the privacy concerns by only allowing students who are above the age of 13 to enter our website, and we're using an encryption software to make sure students' data is protected at all costs. Next slide, please. This is a sample environmental lab that will let students from Massachusetts come together and collect data from parks all over the state. They will take measurements that are easy to collect, such as pH levels and temperature. This lab can encourage students to go out of their homes to nearby parks to make a collaborative dashboard. Next slide, please. We also have a BCI neuroscience lab, which can be done virtually without students leaving their home. This lab will allow students to type using their brainwaves. The EEG data will come from one student, and other students inside the lab will learn how to process data and build a system in groups of 4 to 5. Next slide, please. We're currently in talks with the tech incubator at Queen's College, who is the partner in this hackathon, and they have experienced a strong interest in taking this project forward. We're also looking to reach out to the Harvard CVT team and collaborate with them further. We're also looking to partner with specific school districts and a project that they will broadcast live on Acton TV. Next slide, please. Remember, this project can impact 1.2 billion students' lives around the world. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for you guys. The judges, any questions?
Can you talk a little bit more about how your platform is different than the current two available platforms?
Yeah, sure thing. So currently the two major services are EDX and Coursera. The problem with those platforms are they don't have a collaborative environment specifically for high school students. Like for example, we do have a chat box, and we have various methods to make these students into smaller groups. So it'd be actually collaborating in groups rather than doing this solo. So they're collaborating with each other. Any questions?
Right. If there's no more questions, thank you very much, guys. Next would be team 23. And for the judges, that was team 27 that just completed their presentation.
Awesome. If you could just please move to the first slide, please. Thank you. Hello, my name is Rodrigo, and I am a physics student from Mexico. During the pandemic, hundreds of academic opportunities have migrated towards digitalization. I had personally earned a full ride scholarship to attend my dream master's degree program, which was abruptly canceled due to COVID-19. And the closest thing to my master's experience now is to participate in webinars and hackathons like this one. Next, please. However, academic and internship opportunities in Latin America are published across multiple platforms, which makes it very time-consuming to find opportunities that interest us students, while also making this software extremely inaccessible for disadvantaged students in 90% of Latin American schools, which shut down due to lack of infrastructure to migrate to online classes. Furthermore, finding internships and laboral opportunities in Latin America is getting even harder during the pandemic, in a region that already has a huge youth unemployment rate and an astonishing staff turnover rate. Next, please. The solution is Unify, a mobile application that can provide instant access to hundreds of internship opportunities in industry and academy, making this solution a part of revitalizing communities while also providing a smooth transition towards opportunities that can keep students engaged in learning. Next, please. We already have partners in industry and academy who will upload opportunities, and students are able to filter the offer according to their interests and get suggestions based on their profile. Next, please. Our solution is unique in two main things: in how we achieve an organized and centralized offer, and our focus in opportunities for high school and college students interested in STEM areas in Latin America. Next, please. The results are based on the market research we conducted during the weekend with 700 engineering students in Mexico representing our end users, who believe that our present prototype can provide them with a solution to access opportunities more efficiently. Next, please. Our initial business model will be based on advertising, allowing us to absorb the cost of publishing the application and online marketing while we build a strong user base, before incorporating recruitment services for small to medium-sized companies in Mexico. Next, please. These are our financial projections for the advertising revenue model in the first 3 years, showing how revenue is clearly near term. Next, please. So like my master's degree program, thousands of students around the world saw their educational plans abruptly canceled by the pandemic. So with online learning becoming the new normal, who would like to join us in making every internship opportunity accessible for anyone and anywhere in Latin America? Thank you so much. And next slide, please.
Thank you. Judges?
Yeah, hi, this is great. More of a comment. I think it's also great to establish your own sort of ecosystem as you kind of collect your network, your own network. I think it's great that you're, on one of the slides that you're partnering up with LinkedIn, or you're leveraging on LinkedIn and others. But as you kind of progress and grow your network of alums, I think it's really good to keep that database going forward. More of a follow-up question on that. Who would pay for this? So would it be the students, or would it be the companies that end up hiring?
So most of social media networks and platforms start generating a clear revenue model after they have a critical mass of users. We plan on doing the same. So the universal service. Sorry?
Yep. Could you guys just unmute? Sorry about that.
Thank you. So the universal service will remain free for all, and it will be sustained through the advertising model. Once we have a critical mass, we can move towards implementing this recruitment service for small to medium-sized companies in Mexico, which represent 90% of the total economic activity in the country.
So other than the target, audience, what is the key differentiator of the existing search engine? I think you mentioned briefly, but could you remind me one more time?
I am sorry, could you repeat the question,
so
please?
Other than target audience, what is the key differentiator comparing to the existing job search engine?
Yes, so centralized offer is really our key differentiator, because in Mexico, most of these opportunities are only available to people in advantaged and urban areas. So what we plan on doing is, with 70% of youth students in the country and in Latin America having a smartphone, basically getting these opportunities closer to them through a centralized platform, which does not exist currently in Spanish and in Latin America region.
All right. Thank you so much. We're out of time.
Which team number was this, Dana?
That was team 23.
Thank you.
Right. And next is team 17. If you guys can get ready. Do you have you unmuted? Who will be presenting? Do we have team 17 on?
Team 17?
I see hands.
No.
Yeah, up. Yep. And from the team, guys, you don't all have to be unmuted, only the person that's speaking, so we don't have background noises, please.
Hi. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Who would be
Okay.
presenting?
Yes, I'm the one presenting. So
Okay.
this is Team Alex, and we are working to bridge educational practice gaps in Africa by 2030. Next slide, please. Hi, everyone. I have a question to you all. When you were still at college, have you ever mastered all the theoretical aspect of a course and unable to practice it? Why? A lot of African students are experiencing the same unfavorable problem. According to Career Africa report of 2018, more than 75% of recent engineering graduates in Africa lack practical skills required to learn and advance their careers. That could increase significantly in light of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Choose how could we help engineering students and colleges in Africa bridge the practice gap? Next slide. Our problem is aligned to the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 4 that should be achieved by Horizon 2030 to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities to all, notably opportunities at the local and international levels. Next slide, please. Our solution is called ALEX. It is a combination of a framework where engineering students could practice and a platform where they could network. So we will establish key partnerships with institutions such as physical and virtual labs and companies in order to offer a framework for engineers students to practice their skills at a very lower cost. And thanks to the...
Oh, I think we lost you. We can't hear you.
Our networking plans make... Pardon?
Oh, we just lost the last sentence. You got cut off. If you could repeat the last sentence, please.
Yes, thanks to our networking platform, engineering students could meet and share their experience, hence making senior students becoming tutors and mentors for others. Next slide, please. Our offer is innovative as it will be really cost-effective, easy to implement, and help exchange useful knowledge and resources across students in Africa. This market is almost a blue ocean and choose a competitive advantage. And our solution is easily scalable. Next slide, please. The implementation will be easily done in 5 steps. First, establish key partnerships, then develop e-learning infrastructure and curriculums. After that, establish key connections, and then launch and continuously improve the solution. We are already in contact with some strategic partners across Africa to develop and test our MVP. We invite them to the collaboration and support with great institutions worldwide like MIT, thanks to their valuable resources and infrastructure like the EGX platform. Next slide, please. Our team is diverse and with complementary skills from business, entrepreneurship, and engineering. Most of us are experienced and have key expertise required. We share common practical skills we share common vision to help underserved engineering students across Africa to develop their practical skills.
Thank you very much. You're out of time, but thank you so much. We'll move to the judges' questions.
I may have missed it, on sort of the sustainability of the spot. Is there a model where you are charging, or you're able to bring in the financial resources to keep the site up?
So for the platform is free of charge to enable more students to connect and network. But the partnership that we established with virtual laboratories, physical laboratories, it will be charged to universities and engineering colleges.
All right. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. That was Team 17.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, it's going to be Team 7, and we're just arranging the slides to get back to Team 7. After Team 7, they're going to be Team 18. Now I'm putting that on the chat so you guys have visibility. All right, and we are at Team 7. Who's presenting? Are you guys unmuted?
Hi, I am.
Excellent. We are ready when you are.
1 second, please.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
All right, the timer's starting now.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. As of May of this year, 1.6 billion children have been affected by school closures worldwide because of COVID-19. Students' learning experience has been greatly weakened due to the lack of teacher feedback and interaction. In addition, student learning preferences are not commonly acknowledged. This is especially difficult for young learners who need more facilitation. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide. Thank you. So some of our team members have children like myself, and we see a loss of motivation in our children because of the lack of teacher and peer interactions. Next slide. As more families educate their children at home, the home education market is growing exponentially. So we recognize a unique opportunity to help children and parents by creating a personalized learning experience for students by identifying their unique learning style and needs. Our vision is to assist students to achieve subject mastery, to redefine the roles of teachers, and to pool targeted educational resources for students. Next slide. So our product is called Learn for You. And Learn for You assesses students' learning preferences. The tool creates a personalized curriculum consisting of targeted school courses and supplementary online learning resources that complements the student's style of learning. It also provides a system of peer and parent feedback with teacher intervention. Next slide. We're developing an assessment tool that will identify the learning preferences of the student as mentioned. Next slide. The platform will consolidate available resources. Next slide. And as mentioned before, teachers will intervene after reviewing the peer and parent interaction. Next slide. So our business model is pretty much to partner with elementary schools and existing platforms like Khan Academy. Schools will use this tool to supplement their existing process, and homeschool parents can use this tool as a guide to ensure their children are on track. The tool will be available for students for free. Schools will use a monthly subscription model for premium services. We also hope to source funding from socially responsible tech companies as well. Next slide. So our team is made up of a diverse group of professionals who are very talented with diverse educational backgrounds and cultural backgrounds as well to help foster and bring this into fruition. Next slide. So our next step is to build this out, build out our preparatory assessment algorithm using machine learning. We will also develop partnerships with online educational platforms to leverage their course content and expertise, and in return, grant them access to our learning style platform that will add value in helping them develop learning resources.
Thank you very much. You guys are out of time.
Sure.
We'll go to the judges.
Can we go back to our last slide? We're waiting for questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the judges?
What are the typical tools used today to understand learning styles?
So the typical tools used today are teacher assessments or different types of assessments. So our unique position would be in properly creating an assessment that is effective in identifying a learning style, a student's learning style. Taking it a step further, what we would do different as well in this process of identifying a unique learning style is actually also engaging the learner, which is not really done today. So learning style assessments are done where someone fills out a form and then spits out a result, but we're taking a step further to actually engage the learner to get real feedback and what their style of learning is.
Why not continue this post-COVID with the teachers in the schools?
Well, post-COVID, we are thinking of the issues, we are tackling issues such as summer slide, where it's also part of the things that happen when there's the remote learning. So we want to go into that market for holiday learning as an alternative to summer school, which are very expensive. And we also are targeting things like homeschool parents. And we are hoping that we can build partnership where some of the school can adopt our model and they can use our platform to supplement their existing school curriculum.
And that was team 7. Thank you guys very much. Next would be team 18. And that's team 18 is up. After team 18 is going to be team 43. Just guys, get ready. Do we have team 18 online? Who will be presenting?
Yes, that'll be me.
Excellent. Just give us a second for the judges to complete their form, and then we'll let you know when we're ready.
Yeah.
All right, we're ready when you are.
Can you go to the next slide after this? Yeah, I'm starting. Research suggests that preschools and daycare centers around the states lost nearly 70% of their daily attendance in 1 week. Parents are considering homeschooling for the next couple of months or even years. Young children are largely kinesthetic learners, and their future education is highly dependent on creating ways to bring body and physical actions into their digital learning environments. Next, please. My name is Tanya, and I represent Team Soma, a bunch of researchers, designers, coders, and educators. Soma simply means body. And why use of Soma? Next slide. The development of social skills during the early years of a child is essential. This is important for the enhancement of the child's mental, collaborative, and creative skills. We as a team felt the need to address this as we all come from different educational backgrounds, but social and interpersonal skills brought us together, which is why we decided to focus on this for designing a better educational model, specifically for ages between 4 and 8. Next. This is a crucial element that allows them to gain confidence and personality. Since the current e-learning platforms are theory-based, which is unifaceted, the children only sit and stare at screens. Next, we realized the need to make a multifaceted ed-tech platform for the holistic growth of the child, which is why we propose Soma School. What we propose is the amalgamation of facilitation by teachers, peer learning, and voice user interface. This combination could provide for a curriculum that is co-designed by all these stakeholders. The platform would allow children to learn from creative activities wherein they would move around the house to complete tasks to learn various concepts. It would also involve role-playing and storytelling where children don different characters where collaboration and peer learning is at its peak. Next, please. Please play the video. Here in this demo, you can see that we are using computer vision to recognize gestures that the children would make. The same thing can be replicated to alphabets and other actions. This can be useful for correcting and teaching children. The usage of such actions and expressions can help children be more active in the process of learning and also develop a better sense of their bodies through these small gesture-based activities. Next, please. As mentioned, the curriculum design would include various gesture-based and creative activities. Research suggests how gestures prove to be more impactful in the field of learning than in other ways. Next, please. We envision an educational model where children have the advantage of being helped through technology, peer learning, and teachers. In synergy to that, we propose a business model that allows for collaboration with other e-learning websites such as Khan Academy to influence a shift towards body being given equal importance in learning as that of creativity or theory. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Judges? Do we have any questions for the team that was team 18?
Oh, tell me a little bit more about the dynamic gesture recognition.
Sorry?
Tell me a little bit more about that, yeah.
So we decided to go with the use of computer vision and enhance it. We realized that there's a lot of limitation when it comes to the usage of gesture recognition particularly for children, because there are a lot of dependencies on the movement of the body parts that are being recognized, and children might not have as discrete and distinguishable actions as those of adults. And yeah, so we wanted to create a new way or a novel database for the same. And for the same reason, we wanted to go with using this technology to create further strides in the space of computer vision and understanding ways of teaching children through action-based learning and not just theory. And that is why we decided to go with the technology that we chose.
Right. Thank you very much. That was team 18. And next will be team 43. After team 43, they're going to be team 52. So just get ready. But for the judges, that was team 18 for your score. We'll give you a minute to complete your form. In team 43, are you guys online, and who is presenting? Are you unmuted?
Yes, we are ready.
Excellent.
Team 43, we're ready.
Yeah. Do you want to move to the next slide, Sydney? Thank you.
Yes.
All right. We will let you know, guys.
Please,
Okay.
please move to the next slide. In 2030, we're expecting to have around 380 million college students worldwide. According to the COVID-19 statistics, although how impressively fast the switch was to online learning, the quality of education was greatly affected. Consequently, we are trying to solve the problem of how can we create a sustainable education system that allows communication and resource sharing on the local and global level between national and international college students. The challenge lies in creating a sustainable education system that does not get affected by any other future pandemic or any similar crisis, even if most of the countries were to fully lock down again. Next, please. Next, please. The world needs to be remotely connected. No, the previous one. Our solution is to create a global education platform that allows communication and resource sharing on the local and global level between national and international college students. Through this platform, students can work on collaborative projects and share the knowledge and resources on the local and global level. In our business model, I would like to highlight some few points. Next, please. Firstly, we are collaborating with universities to provide content through professors and open source knowledge to serve our customer segment, college students. Secondly, the most important value propositions that we have, as outlined here, are resource sharing and accessibility. The platform is available for everyone in the world, ensuring equal opportunities for high quality education. Some videos will be even downloadable for a limited period of time to account for those who encounter network instability. Finally, it's worth mentioning that this is a non-profitable organization which depends on global funds, as shown in the bottom right of the canvas, where any generated profit will be reinvested. Next, please. Our team is not only diversified. Next, please. Our team is not only diversified in geographical locations, but also in qualifications. Our team believes in the idea because Global EduCo is reducing the dependency on traditional education and preparing colleges students through creating a resilient and sustainable platform for everyone. Global EduCo, vaccinating education for present and future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a good line to end with. Judges, any questions?
This is a great idea. Question in terms of barrier to success. What do you guys foresee as the biggest barrier for adoption?
Ilham, would you like to go?
Yeah, I think the biggest barrier might be trying to get the internet, the technology of having internet, so the students can get the action without internet fast. But if all the partnerships happen with the universities and the non-profit organizations, I think it will glide.
Can I add something to that, please, as well?
Sure.
We also like to take the citizen science approach where we see through the solution that as we use a model like Pokemon Go, the nearest models and the local connections that are there, that could be extended also further up ahead in the context of having connections, even if there is no internet access at times. So we try to provide content for a limited time, even on offline access as well. And also we try to see through how we can have established connections in the local level, especially when there is less of connectivity, which we try to kind of experience in developing countries.
Very good, thank you. Thank you very much, guys. That was team 43 for the judges to score. Right. Next, we have team 52 up. And after that is going to be team number 2. Do we have team 52 unmuted who would be presenting?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Do you want to switch to the next slide just to get them set up? Thank you.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can. We're ready
Awesome.
when you are.
Okay. Clinicas, the time is now. COVID-19 increased the number of mental health problems hitting really hard teenagers and young adults. Next, please. It's insane to think that students from all over the world had to reframe their learning process. From day to night, they had to learn how to keep up with a good job at school while the world was falling apart right in front of their eyes. Next, please. In a recent survey, 80% of young adults reported that coronavirus affected their mental health for the worse. Next, please. Social distancing led students to lose daily contact with their friends, but not only that, they lost the opportunity to learn close from their teachers and to have social interactions of any kind. Next, please. The pandemic exceeded their levels of frustration, fear, anxiety, leading their own ones to a depressed state of mind. Next, please. It's important to say that 50% of all mental disorders begin by the age of 14 and 3/4 by the age of 24 years old. Next, please. Clinicas pairs students that are mentally overwhelmed to psychology-based solutions, using the amazingness of artificial intelligence to seek affordable or even free help for the mental health. Next, please. 80% of the people we interviewed noticed that psychological changes happened in their kids after the quarantine started, and 95% would like to have access to a free or affordable platform. Next. The medical bot is able to provide solutions for mild problems for free. Everything in the solution will follow privacy protocols to ensure the user privacy. Next, please. For major problems such as suicidal feelings, the medical bot will immediately connect the user with a hotline for suicide prevention. Next, please. Users can even ask anonymous questions and have it answered by a mental healthcare professional. And if they want to schedule an appointment, they can do so with an affordable price. Next, please. After getting an appointment with a therapist, the user can chat in a safe space, making it easier to open up. Next, please. This is the Clinicas interface, where the user can talk to the bot, ask a question, or join a group. Next, please. And finally, this is the Clinicas team. And this cause is very important to us. Me personally, unfortunately, I would say I had a friend that is currently in high school that tried suicide after quarantine started. So we want the students have to support that they need the most, and we want the students to have Clinicas. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Judges?
Hi, this is a great idea. So were you thinking about using the chatbot as a triaging mechanism to initially engage?
Yes, that would be like one of the first steps for the users, and then like the bot would identify if it's a mild problem or if it's a more serious problem.
So then the technical challenge and thresholds for the chatbot in terms of NLP processing is quite high. How are you thinking about sort of addressing that, or how do you envision on sort of getting up to the state of art so that you can triage properly?
I think that the main thing here would be like keywords that would trigger some points. For example, if they mention some keywords that we can definitely like identify, then we could link those words to the problem solution.
So do we have any implementation of a chatbot in medical or pharma field?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Oh,
I couldn't hear.
Do we have current implementation of chatbot in medical or pharmaceutical field?
Yes, our idea, of course, I mean, it was hard to demonstrate everything in 3 minutes, but our idea is to have like a multi-professional team in our app, and not only provide psychological therapy, but also music therapy and pharmaceutical therapy, and like all of those professionals together.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. That was team 52 for the judges to score. And next would be team number 2. And after that's going to be team 26. Who do we have? Who's presenting from team number 2?
I am.
All right, excellent. And you are unmuted. We are ready when you are.
Can you start the timer when you proceed to the next slide, please? Our survey showed that 56% of high school students do not feel prepared to progress to employment or higher education. If this is one of the main purposes of our education system, what is going wrong? Next. I'd like to introduce you to 3 high school students. Bobby is a pro at communicating his teammates on and off the soccer field, but struggles with math. Alex can find his way out of any sticky situation in Fortnite, but has a hard time making an Excel spreadsheet. Iris helps her mom with the newspaper formatting software, but she has a hard time with writing. To help these students, we present Scholar Skills, a platform by current and former students reflecting on our experiences for the next generation.
Gente, você não tem noção.
Bobby, Alex, and Iris are graduating high school next year, and they feel unprepared to go on to college and employment. According to the 2019 QS Global Skills Gap Report, employees see the largest deficits in problem solving, resilience, and communication. Next. This year, Bobby, Alex, and Iris have been forced into online learning due to COVID. Next. Which they associate with asynchronous learning and meaningless worksheets. But online learning can be so much more. Next. Online learning has the potential to facilitate collaboration between students nationally and internationally, to give access to resources that had not previously been available, and to give students the flexibility to learn at their optimal time, pace, and location. Next. Thus, Scholar Skills is the bridge to enable and empower high school students like Bobby, Alex, and Iris to thrive in higher education and the workforce. Next. Scholar Skills is a platform featuring tracks to develop unconventional skills that are necessary for life beyond high school. Students are grouped into cohorts to bring the social aspect back into learning, and projects allow students to utilize their new skills. Next. Bobby, Alex, and Iris start off with an initial assessment for skill deficits and then enrolling customized tracks to bridge that gap. Next. They are then grouped into a cohort due to their complementary strengths and weaknesses and their geographical diversity. Next. Following the track activities, Bobby, Alex, and Iris will then work together to apply their skills in a variety of projects, such as participating in a hackathon. Next. We anticipate some challenges with the initial stages of the platform. For example, we plan to initially start with locations where English is primarily spoken before expanding to other languages. Next. At the end of the day, we are here to bring out the positives of online learning in the hopes of better preparing high school students for jobs in higher education. We believe that this will improve youth employment and college retention rates. Next. Going forward, we plan to develop curricula for each of our skill tracks and gain funding through high schools, nonprofit organizations, and local businesses. Next. With the help of Scholar Skills, we are happy to announce that Bobby, Alex, and Iris are now ready and excited to tackle college and the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you very much, judges. Do we have any questions for team number 2? All right, there is no questions at this time. Great job. Thank you very much, guys. Next would be team 26, and after that would be team 57. Team 26, let's switch to your slides and we'll be ready when you are. Who's presenting?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Do you know what's wrong with this guy? Probably not, because the background's missing. He's in the public without wearing a mask. Next slide, please. We'd like to switch gears and talk about public education. We propose to develop a proactive framework for tackling a pandemic and public education campaign to raise compliance for mitigation measures. Why do we want to do this? Next, please. As we know, Despite the depressing news that we're continuously exposed to, we still have excellent publications and resources which we have pulled in a short amount of time that describes excellent methods for data collection, including apps like ID Now from Abbott Now, FDA's My Study, Providence Health App by Microsoft, and many telemedicine apps reporting and forecasting with high accuracy. Next slide, please. So where did we fail? Next slide, please. Even though studies show that wearing a mask could reduce the risk of flu transmission by 35 to 51%, many people don't wear masks. The image shows the frame shot of a CNN algorithm from Baidu.ai. The automatic detection at scale in itself is a significant achievement, but compliance is a whole another ballgame. Next slide, please. To gain insights into human behavior, we turned to social media app and a friendly bird messenger, Twitter. We scraped over 10,000 data points before Twitter blocked us. And we understand that the limitation is we just get the Twitter side of the story, but we'd like to process it and understand what it says. Next slide, please. So we extracted the sentiment from the tweets. And as you can see from the chart on the left, it shows that there's a slight positive correlation to the tweets that relate to masks and sentiments. The sentiment is a metric that we want to keep monitoring throughout our campaign. And so based on this, we'd like to create an awareness campaign. And this is a positive thing for us. Moving on, next slide, please. And we analyzed the positive, the topics that the tweets that were talking about that had a positive sentiment. They talked about protection, safety, love, and health. Whereas the other the tweets that had a negative sentiment talked about people, injustice, and Americans. Next slide, please. And so we developed this public education campaign where we personalized targeted audience who have exposed a negative indication, a sentiment via Twitter. So this is like a targeted marketing campaign in order to educate people about the benefits of wearing a mask. Lower infection rates by 60 to 80% between family members. Wear a mask and protect your loved ones. Who would resist?
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. You're out of time. Judges, any questions?
Yeah, this is very, very crucial and impactful potentially. My question probably has more about human psychology than anything else. So from your sentiment analysis, you assume that you can identify those who have negative feelings about it. How do you actually plan to tackle that, right? So it may not necessarily be just a lack of education, but rather there's a whole other human psychology side of things. Have you thought about other ways of convincing people?
Yeah, empathy needs to come in front of everything else, and we need to try and understand from the other person's shoes why they're doing what they're doing, and try to bring the facts in the front. I know in this situation facts are distorted and it's hard to do that, but there are many technological developments that are coming up that prevents spreading of rumors or false news. And yeah, I think empathy should come in front, and educating people about the truth. And that's where we should start. I hope I answered your question. Or hello?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Any other questions from the judges? All right, thank you very much. That was team 26 for the judges. Next up is team 57, and after that would be team 9. Do we have team 57 unmuted? Who would be presenting?
Yes, I will be. My name is Alan.
Excellent.
I'll present
in the second half.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 2 of you, and these are your slides?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Good. We're ready then when you are, guys.
Welcome to Teacher's Assistant, the educator's new toolbox. My name is Alan Chi. Next slide, please. You are a teacher or an educator that has moved to an online learning due to the current pandemic, and 1/3 of the students in your class are not showing up. As a student myself, this screen shows the bleak reality of online learning with little to no student interaction. Next slide, please. Are you worried about your students? You are not alone. Over half of 10,000 teachers polled are just as worried that their students aren't learning effectively online. Next slide, please. Worldwide, 80 million teachers may be struggling to engage their students in class. Next slide, please. In the current market, online tools to help teachers engage students virtually are not organized, hard to find, and they can be expensive. Next slide, please. Teachers need a centralized toolbox, and they need it now. How can we provide teachers with a centralized repository of the proper tools to have higher levels of student engagement and motivation, given the new normal of education? Next slide, please. We are product managers and software engineers, but first and foremost, we are a team of students, educators, and parents. We know firsthand how problematic this is. Next slide, please.
We're Teacher's Assistant, and we're completely novel and the first open access platform that supports teachers with the tools that they need that are peer validated and updated continuously as developers add content. We're going to help teachers improve student engagement in virtual classrooms. Next slide, please. Let me walk you through our platform. You're a teacher. You're not sure how to engage your students in group work online. So you log on to our platform and find the right tool for you based on hundreds of peer reviews. Let's say you choose the free tool called Venn and Doubt. Next slide, please. You simply download the content and begin engaging students. It's as easy as that. Next slide, please. Product developers want this space to build their portfolios up and gain visibility in a centralized location. Our platform is also an attractive space to many relevant businesses that create products in education. And through university competitions like this one, we can create a community leading to innovative tools for teachers. Next slide, please. Our platform is completely free for teachers to use. Our funding will begin with startup investors and will transition to corporate sponsors for long-term maintenance. Next slide, please. Our initial market will be Boston and Bay Area K-12 educators, with a plan to scale up this reach to US level and finally global entry in 2021. Next slide, please. We have a well thought out plan to grow our platform over the next year and beyond, and we'd like to share the details with you soon. So I'll leave you with this. Now, more than ever, teachers need an open access peer-reviewed toolbox to engage their students virtually. Developers want to contribute to a centralized platform where their resources can be seen and utilized. And businesses are looking for projects to support that will improve education globally. Join us in creating a platform for 80 million teachers worldwide. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. This is Marcus Paoletti. I'm an educator, and we're Teacher's Assistant.
Great, thank you so much, guys. Questions from the judges?
The content creators, you know, you talk about that
This
they're
is a
looking
great
to get,
idea. Any thoughts on?
but they're looking to get visibility into their tools. Can you talk more about like their motivation of why they would be, how this is sustainable, why they'll want to build these tools to get into this toolbox?
Yeah, of course. So we're going to use the current momentum that developers have right now and everyone has in our community to upload the tools that people have already made free onto our platform. And we're going to later generate tools through hackathons and related competitions like this one. A centralized space is not present in the teaching community right now. So this provides a novel way for people to get visibility that they wouldn't otherwise have exposure to.
I think Juzam had a question. Oh, Juzam, do you still have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I cut off. This is a great idea. My question was, how are you thinking about credentialing the teachers as a means to attract adoption?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
We're thinking about scaling it up, starting from a small scale. Our team is based in Boston and also a Bay Area, and we're looking to start touching base with local schools. We want to start with one schools in each of the area within the first month, and then growing up from there. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and the question was actually specifically around credentialing the teachers. How are you thinking about that as a means to accelerate the adoption?
Credentialing teachers as in making sure that only teachers are using our platform?
Or certifying, I mean, yes, as a means for initial adoption, but also for them to, get rewarded for adopting the platform.
Oh, well, the rewards are intrinsic to the use. So their rewards are the benefits that they get from these items on the marketplace that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. And we don't need to credential teachers. People from other areas can feel free to use these products if they'd like. We can expand to companies that want to use our group discussion softwares.
All right, thank you so much. That was team 57 for the judges. Next we have team 9 is up, and after that would be team 1. And just for everyone and for the judges, after this team 9, we have 4 more teams to go, and then we'll wrap up. All right, so team 9, who would be presenting from your team?
That's myself.
Excellent. We are ready when you are.
Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. Due to COVID-19 crisis, high school students, like our team's very own Aria, do not have the opportunity to experience the practical chemistry lab environment, missing out on important developmental experiences. How do we retain the hands-on chemistry laboratory learning experience in an online world? Next slide. This problem impacts the entire student population, and data shows that there's a need for a solution. Next slide. More importantly, initial surveys show that high school students already have a desire for this, with 60% of students currently longing for either virtual labs or a combination of both. Next slide. The fact is, current students are missing out on the experiences that they need. Current solutions today are either simulations that have zero input from the teacher, require cumbersome extra hardware costing far too much, or worse yet, there's no collaboration with other students. Something's got to change. Next slide. There's good news. Alternate reality is a capable and mature technology. With easily made QR codes, we can render and track objects in real time, and video games demonstrate that fluid dynamics required to represent complex chemistry lab environments already exist. Next slide. Welcome Marley. Marley is a multi-user AR laboratory experience, which provides an augmented environment for interactive experiences and real-time feedback. It accomplishes this by using physical equipment that you can touch with 3D render models and fluids using QR marker tracking. This provides a very low-cost solution to a difficult problem. But don't let me drone on about this. Just look what we've been able to accomplish in only 8 hours. Next slide. Here's the best part. The cost of development is mostly information. Lab kits can be developed for around $10 or $20, and the time required to develop a working product could take as little as a month. Many expansion opportunities are possible with growth into inexpensive sensors for action fidelity and other subjects requiring lab-based experiences. Next slide. We know that we can work with currently unemployed and talented programmers and key MIT collaboration partners to get this product to market by the start of the school year for immediate use. With careful planning and negotiation, we believe we can be fully utilized in mini homeschool programs within 2 years and have full integration of private and public schools by the end of 3. Next slide. Marley is affordable, can be rapidly developed, and is nothing short of revolutionary, benefiting hundreds of thousands of high schoolers by providing AR solution to the inability to perform labs. We believe that this idea is better than all the current options for distance learning of STEM activities. Next slide. Team numero uno's diverse backgrounds was instrumental in helping us approach this problem and creating a solution for chemistry that is ultimately applicable to many learning environments. Next slide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Judges, questions?
This is great. What kind of hardware does it require?
So the only things that require is a laptop, an iPad, and then you can use, we can either use basic coffee cups as like beakers, or you could use real beakers provided by schools in order to simulate the hands-on experience they would need to have, like pouring fluids from one beaker into a graduated cylinder or whatever you may need.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And with schools nowadays, many of them already supply Chromebooks and whatnot to their students. So for many schools, especially in the United States, this won't even be that much of an additional cost.
What existing platforms are already available, and how do you see them as sort of either being complementary or competitive?
So the existing platforms for this is we have like AR capabilities available. Are you talking about the AR capabilities or the software capabilities? I guess that's the question.
I guess the most innovative part of this is the AR capability. So let's start there. Yeah.
Okay. There's a number of coding out there, and there's actually, in order to do the tracking, like we're talking about, is about 6 lines of code that can be easily implemented into any software in order to do that. It's extremely simple. There's also things like WebSquid to do 3D models and a number of free solutions out there for those kind of problems too.
All right, that would be all. Thank you so much, guys. And that was for the judges. That was team number 9.
Yeah, as a former chemist, I hope you don't rob people of their opportunity to create a small fire in the laboratory. I feel like that's everyone's right. So as long as you build in that into the tool, you're in good shape.
That's a whole other new business idea that we should, another team should start. Add some action. All right, next would be team number 1. Again, that was team number 9 just completed. And team number 1, who is presenting on your side?
Yeah, hello. Hi, guys. I'm Aditi. I'll be presenting.
Excellent. We're ready when you are.
All right. Shall I? I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
All right. So, hello, everyone. I am about to start. Our interaction with Mr. Uday, a teacher at a municipal school in India, made us realize that there exists a huge gap of accessibility of education to kids from the lower income segments. And also, the teachers face a huge, there is a concern amongst the teachers that there is increasing absenteeism within the children community. According to UNESCO in India, 3.2 billion learners are affected due to COVID and 40 million belong to the lower income background. The overusage of existing platforms like Zoom is already creating a phenomenon called as Zoom fatigue. So this is how we are about to tackle the issue of engagement and filling the gap. Next slide, please. All right, here is our problem statement. Is frugal engineering a solution to aid the elementary learning of school children from lower income families is a new normal? Why frugal engineering? Because it already uses existing platforms and resources, so we can leverage it. Next slide, please. Here is a use case of a location Bhiwandi in India, where the age group of the children is 6 to 11 years. And the period of our trial is for 6 weeks. The communication medium we have chosen is already existing platforms like WhatsApp. And there will be a feedback mechanism like having a session, which I'm going to talk about in further slides, in 2 weeks to create an engagement platform for parents and the students. For this, next slide, please. All right, so the model that we are proposing is that My Rakhi is an interface joining all the stakeholders, specifically the parents and the students through NGOs. Here we are concentrating on 3 issues, that is accessibility, penetration, and reliability. Accessibility is through the NGOs, because NGOs already know the behavioral aspects of the students and the parent community of these income segment, and penetration is through already existing Android handsets, which are pretty reliable and trustworthy. Next slide, please. All right, along with the traditional methods that we have, like online learning and videos, we are creating a paradigm shift by making parents be or act as a facilitator. Our unique selling proposition here is the Frugal series, wherein we are going to invite influencers who are already working in the frugal innovation sector to teach students and make them learn concepts using existing resources like utensils, etc., which can further create interaction between parents and the students. Next slide, please. So this is our final slide. We believe that learning is an experience and should not be incentivized, and hope the frugal journey adds to their value. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Judges, any questions? Do you have any questions for team 1? All right, great job. Thank you guys so much. Next will be team 30. And after that is team 15. Who's presenting from team 30?
Hello, everyone. Ma'am, Arya and I, 2 of us are presenting from team 30.
All right, we're ready when you are.
Okay. So hi everyone, we present to you team training shoes. Our problem statement is training efforts for faculty, students and parents to facilitate change in their mindsets and behaviors using gamification. Next. So after doing a bit of research, we could identify our customer segment and their pain points. So we realized that internet penetration in India is only 52.38% to be precise with respect to the rural India. And the remaining 47.62% people are deprived of basic access to internet and basic quality education, also due to unqualified teachers. The shocking data that we could come across is that only 20% teachers qualify the teachers eligibility test. And that is why our target audience include the primary school teachers, students and their parents from Gorakhpur district in Uttar Pradesh, India. Next, please. The problems associated with these kids is that they lack the adequate skills to face the real world. They also come across inferiority complex, which leads to low self-esteem. They also encounter instability in career, leading to frustration, and it also hinders their contribution to the economic's growth. Next. So our product aims at improving the quality of education, and this is not sort of a technology-based product, but it is purely it incorporates raw materials like cardboard and a color print of the content, which will be eventually pasted on the cardboard. And it is a very cost-effective way of learning, as the cost of production would be approximately in the range of ₹8 to ₹10 per product. And the implementation and distribution can be done by collaborating with the state government and also the corporates to leverage upon their CSR funds. This will ensure maximum reach. Next.
Our goal is that students, teachers, and parents in these rural areas who would otherwise be doomed to illiteracy learn how to spell in a playful way. This board game, our prototype, will teach the target group how to spell weekdays. The players start by rolling a dice, and the player with the highest number goes first. Each colored field represents a weekday. The cards give away clues. Next, please. For example, next slide, please. For example, for Monday, the clue could be, what's the first day of the week? The person who spells all weekdays correctly first wins the board game. The principle of the game could be applied to a variety of subjects, such as math, English, and even scientific subjects. Next, please.
So the 4 key impacts out of this product is that the students will get an experiential learning. It's extremely engaging for all the participants. It also enhances grasping power of the kids, and it is a very targeted learning based approach. It's very focused. And another impact that this product can have is that it can generate employment for the proletariat class of people. Thank you.
Excellent, good timing. Thank you so much. Judges, any questions? All right, there will be no questions at this time. Thank you very much. And that was team number 30 to score. Team number 30. And next we have team 15. And after that is the last team for the day, which is team number 3. So team 15, who is presenting?
I am presenting.
Excellent. We are ready when you are.
I'm ready.
All right.
This project deals with designing a new methodology for online education. Next slide, please. This is the outline for the pitch for ease of reference. Next slide, please. Hello to everyone. Due to the impact of COVID-19, the pandemic has created a greater demand for online education. In the USA, it was projected that online education will create a revenue in the amount of approximately $243 billion in 2022. With the COVID-19 pandemic and different lockdown measures imposed, social distancing and online education has become the new normality, with the exception of compulsory science and medical practical examinations. The pull factors for online education has its convenience at the flexibility of your own current life and full-time employment. The contact sessions are obviously impossible in that situation. In the current midst of the COVID-19 global pandemic has necessitated for compulsory online education. The major issue with online education is the connectivity and data issues, dependent on the current geographical location. In South Africa, a country located in the southern area of Africa, it depends on the service provider and strength of the signal. Some service providers are better uninterrupted data services than others. Data is an expensive commodity now with more demand. There are other providers being introduced to the market that offers connectivity at a discounted rate. There are some remote areas that still struggle with their connections which are weak, making online studies impossible. International students in Africa or remote areas globally struggle with their internet connection and require data at a cost price or free, especially for universities. The concept of zero-rated platforms was negotiated with service providers in South Africa, such as with the suppliers of MTN, Vodacom, Cell C, Telkom SA. However, these zero-rated platforms are capped with certain megabytes which can be uploaded. In addition, it does not resolve the issue of bad signal in certain areas, so accessibility is still a problem. So how would one tackle these issues? Mainly with data at zero-rated or free for students to access these online platforms for education. Next slide, please. So the impact is solving a real problem with potential educational impact for sustainable growth for a number of international students with sustainable online support. Next slide, please. Innovation. The tech issues that are covered is limited data issues in accessing online videos and narrated PowerPoints. So having zero-rated platforms to upload this education would be ideal. Implementation, it can be.
Thank you very much. You're out of time. Judges, any questions?
Can you share a little bit more about your thoughts on, we ran out of that time there, on how you would get the better connectivity to this region? How would it be funded?
Okay, so the way it's funded is that one has to partner up with the stakeholders. So for example, say Vodacom or Vodafone, in terms of their corporate social responsibilities in this pandemic, that they would actually provide it. So it's the company that bears the cost. And so with, on zero-rated platforms, they would bear those costs of providing those platforms.
All right, any other questions? Great, thank you so much. That was team number 15.
Thank you.
To score, thank you. Team number 15. And last but not least is team number 3.
Good afternoon. I'll be speaking.
Right. You're unmuted. Are you guys ready to go?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We're ready when you are.
Awesome. Stop. Due to COVID, children in rural areas are not getting education as there is limited technology. For example, in New Catch, Kenya, these places do not have technologies, and to bring technologies to these places will take a lot of time and funding. So we need to come up with solutions that leverage the current technologies they have. Next slide. Our approach to solve this problem is by digital tech ed, power to empower. We are creating remote education system by leveraging current technologies in rural areas, and the impact is big. We need solution now as part of the phase 1, where we'll be using TV, radio, and basic cell phone text messages to bring education to students at home. The approach is to dedicate channels for education and aid them in different times for different grades. Further, we want to expand into next phase to come up with a two-way communication and collaboration with fellow students, where and teachers, where education is effective and students get to ask questions and interact with teachers. And for the phase 3, we want to expand this and be prepared for remote education all across for upcoming uncertainties and remote learning. Next slide. The implementation plan is to do a pilot in New Kenya, and we are our stakeholders are students, families, school boards, education boards, the communication channels, and we are partnering and requesting sponsorship from the local telecom companies, Safaricom, Orange, M-Pesa, and our approach is to leverage the diagnostic tools to understand the technologies they have today, want to data capture those, and come up with a cloud-based environment and database gathering solutions. Next slide, please. Our business plan is to request for an advisory board to guide and launch a solution. We are not perfect. We want some advisory board. Our pilot is to get sponsors so that we can at least roll out the pilot in this location, which I mentioned, capitalize on the lessons learned, leverage experience, and come up with a roadmap, 3-year roadmap. Next slide. We have a team of professionals who actually can do that, from IT leadership to public health, to the academic professor, to the international development. And I want to end saying that education is a passport to the future, but tomorrow belongs for those who will prepare it today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Any questions from the judges? All right, there's no more question. Thank you so much, Team 3. That was Team 3 to score. And that would wrap up our Track C presentations for the day. I thank you all for attending and all the hard work that you guys have done so far. It was really nice to see you grow in the last two days, coming from just a pure an idea to an actual plan. The next thing that we're gonna do here, that we're gonna take a break and try to regroup around 4 o'clock for the final announcement. So we're gonna give the judges some time to deliberate on the decision. And I think the call schedule for 4 o'clock, keep an eye on the general channel in case that time shift a little bit, depends on how all the other track finish their presentation. So it could be around 4 o'clock, but keep an eye on the channel for an announcement for that. As for the judges, if you guys can take a few minutes to break, and we'll regroup at 3:40. I will call you all on the Slack. So if you can stay at your computer by 3:40, and I will give you a call. All right. Thank you all.